I'm going to go over the cruise packing mistakes that are wasting time, space, and money, or can even get your stuff confiscated before you set sail. And most importantly, this video is full of solutions, so I'm going to share the items that you can swap out instead. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewhilecruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, if you're a first-time cruiser, these cruise packing mistakes are going to be so helpful for you. However, if you're a repeat cruiser, something that you should know is that quite a few things have changed over the last year or so. So I'm also going to be going through the latest updates. So this video is going to be a great refresher. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Irons and steamers. Now, something that you should know before you go on a cruise ship is that anything that has a heating element or is a potential fire hazard, so anything with an open flame, is usually going to be prohibited on a cruise ship. However, there are a couple of exceptions. I am going to share them after, but the first thing we need to talk about are travel irons and clothing steamers. You might bring them on other types of occasions, but unfortunately, you cannot bring them on a cruise ship. If you do bring them, they are going to be confiscated. And what happens is they're going to take them out of your checked bag or your carry-on bag, and you could pick that up at the end of your cruise. Now, as an alternative, I will tell you a cruiser's secret. It is Downy wrinkle release or whatever the equivalent is. Now, it's not really going to replace an iron or a steamer, but this combined with shower steam does do a pretty good job. Extension cords, surge protected power strips, and even cruise approved power cubes may be prohibited on your cruise ship. Now, this is because there has been a change over the last few months. So firstly, let me let you know, on all cruise ships, you are not permitted to bring surge protected power strips. So the kind that you have at home, that cannot go on a cruise ship. And just to let you know, many times people bring these because cabins just don't have a lot of outlets, whether it's USB or electric outlets, especially if the cruise ship is older than about 5 years. However, most cruise ships are going to still allow you to bring a power cube like this one. This is a cruise approved non-surge protected power cube. It is my favorite one because it does have the USB outlets. It also has your electric outlets, and it really is quite compact, and that folds up. So this is perfect. However, if you are going to be sailing on Royal Caribbean, they have made a rule that even these are not permitted. But what you can bring is a multi-hub USB outlet. Now, just to let you know, I am going to leave these as well as any items that I mentioned in this video linked down below in the description of this video. Liquor and beer. Those are items you cannot bring on a cruise ship. However, maybe a little bit surprisingly, most cruise ships are going to allow you to bring one bottle of wine or champagne per person on board on embarkation day. And by the way, make sure that you check the specific policy for your cruise line, as most cruise lines do allow you to bring this on board on embarkation day. However, MSC Cruises does not. Everyday toiletries. Now, I'm talking about shampoo, conditioner, and hand soap. Now, if you're not picky, you're probably going to be absolutely fine on a cruise ship because usually it's very similar to hotels. However, we have been on a couple of cruises where there have been a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and honestly, one time there was a 3-in-1. I do always bring shampoo and conditioner. I do have a suggestion though. Keep the full-size toiletries at home and instead bring a travel size bottle. By the way, this is a little silicone cover. These are great for any type of bottle, especially if you're putting it in your checked luggage or your carry-on luggage. You don't want to have a mess. These work really, really well, and they are reusable. Now, the other item that a lot of people are using these days, and I am personally, are these bar shampoos. So if you don't want to bring liquids, this is a great alternative. First day essentials. Now, what I mean is, don't pack your first day essentials in your checked luggage. And unfortunately, this is a common mistake that many first-time cruisers make. Instead, you want to make sure you have the items that you'll want to have on embarkation day in your carry-on or personal bag. And something that I do is I actually make sure that I have my pre-cruise bag packed with the same items that I'm going to bring on the plane for my pre-cruise hotel and embarkation day. Now, Nomad Lane has very kindly sponsored this video so that I can share with you how to stay organized with an efficient and well-packed bag. So firstly, when it comes to the size, don't let the size deceive you. Even though this is a personal bag size and really it doesn't look very big, it holds so much because of its unique, efficient clamshell design. What should you pack inside? Well, there are 3 rules. Anything that is valuable, anything that you're going to need within the first few hours of your cruise, and anything that, if lost, would be difficult to replace. So I'm talking about medication. I'm also talking about a bathing suit if you plan on going swimming on the first day of your cruise. Now, something that I like to do is actually pack a packing cube, and in my packing cube, I'm going to put my evening outfits for my family. And yes, this actually fits in the Nomad Lane bento bag. I'm even going to put a change of shoes, my makeup, and my toiletries. Now, one of the things that I really like about the Nomad Lane bento bag is the organization, and this includes these 2 pouches. So you get this see-through pouch, which is absolutely perfect for your liquids. So when you're going through airport security, this is great. And you could just pull this out from the zippered pouch in the top. And you have this zippered pouch, which is great for chargers, wires, and electronics. Now, the interior of the bag opens up like a clamshell. It is so roomy, but you also have a top zipper, so you can use that as well. And that's especially handy when you're at the cruise terminal or airport. Now, I also wanted to show you how the interior lining is in a light color fabric. Now, this doesn't seem like much, but I can tell you when you're in an airplane and it is dark and you try to look for an item, the fact that this is a light color doesn't have you reaching into a black hole where you cannot find a thing. Now, in the center of the bag, you're going to find the laptop compartment, so you can put your laptop or your iPad. And this is also unique because it's in the middle of the bag. It really does cushion the bag so that if it does fall down, which has actually happened to me before, your electronics are not going to break. Now, in this front pocket, you've got more organization. So you can put your phone in here. You can put some other items that you might have. And so you don't forget them, you can also place your keys. Now, you've got a shoulder strap and you can wear this crossbody. However, this also fits over your trolley sleeve. So if you are putting this on a rolling carry-on or rolling piece of luggage, this is super convenient too. Now, I have the bento bag in this stunning blue color. It's actually my favorite color. I just love it. And you could really see the quality, by the way. And I've used this for several cruises and several flights and several road trips. And I also have it in a stunning berry color as well. But it is available in different colors. But I do have an awesome discount code. So I'm going to leave the discount code as well as an exclusive link down in the description below this video in case you do want to check it out. Expensive jewelry. It probably is best to leave your most expensive jewelry at home. Now, you definitely can put it in the safe if you want, but when you go off into the cruise ports in particular, you really don't want to be wearing anything flashy. Now, instead, what many people do is they actually buy like a travel ring and some of the great jewelry that's available on Amazon and leave your most valuable and, more importantly, maybe your sentimental jewelry at home. Don't pack the wrong cruise wear or the wrong shoes. Now, cruise lines do have dress codes, although they are much less strict than before. But you do want to check what are some of the theme nights that are going to be on the cruise. Is there a formal night? And if you do want to participate, then you want to make sure you pack the items in accordance. Now, the other thing that you want to bring, and I think a lot of people do forget about this, they don't think about it, especially if it's a Bahamas or a Caribbean cruise, is you want to make sure that you have sneakers or closed-toe shoes. Now, that's because some of the activities on the cruise ship are going to require closed-toe shoes, even for children. And if you plan on keeping it casual and just wearing flip-flops or slides, that could be fine for the buffet or some of the casual outdoor restaurants. But if you want to go to one of the sit-down restaurants, in particular in the evening, pool wear won't be allowed. Now, speaking of clothes, there are 2 other things that you should know. Camouflage clothing is not permitted. It's actually illegal in several Caribbean cruise ports of call as well as elsewhere. So it might be a good idea not to bring that on the cruise, or at least not to get off the cruise ship if you are wearing that. And the other thing, it's a little bit of a practical tip, But don't bring clothes that are too tight, or if you do bring them, it's okay, you could wear them, but it's a good idea to wear them early on in the cruise because let's face it, there's a lot of food and a lot of drinks, and many of us will feel just a little bit less comfortable as the cruise goes on. Although you can bring shaper, and that's going to help. Snacks. Now, snacks are unnecessary for most people, but I have to say, there are people that do bring them. So it is definitely not something you need to bring because there's more than enough food to eat on the cruise ship. But if you like things like candy, chips, gum, chocolates, things like that, they're going to be pretty pricey on the cruise ship, so it is a good idea to bring that from home. Sunscreens that are not reef friendly. Now, many Caribbean cruise ports of call, and again elsewhere, have banned the use of regular sunscreens, and instead they ask all visitors to use a reef-friendly sunscreen instead. Now, I did want to make sure that I shared a tip of something else that you probably should bring, especially on Caribbean cruises, because the sun, when it's against the water as you are on the cruise ship, is going to be much hotter. Maybe it's because of the reflection from the water, so you really do want to watch that. It is a good idea to bring aloe vera as well. Now, you can actually purchase this on the cruise ship, but it's going to be much more expensive. This is my absolute favorite aloe vera because it's organic and non-sticky. Bluetooth speakers and walkie-talkies. Now, this is going to depend on the cruise line, but more cruise lines have started to ban Bluetooth speakers either on the cruise ship or in their private islands. So if you do bring one, except for Carnival, you're not allowed to bring it at all. But if you do bring one on the cruise ship, make sure that you're using it in your cabin, not in the public areas where they are sometimes a little bit quiet zones. And don't play the music too loudly on your balcony so as not to disturb others. Now, walkie-talkies, if you were considering bringing walkie-talkies on a cruise, you should know that Norwegian Cruise Line no longer allows them on cruise ships. And other cruise lines do allow them. However, most cruise lines do have messaging apps that you can use for free or for a nominal charge for as little as like $5. And that is going to be much more effective on a ship. Lots of cash. You no longer need a lot of cash when you're going on a cruise. And that is because everything that you buy on a cruise, every drink that you buy, anything that you purchase in the store, if you go to a restaurant, all of that is going to go onto your cruise card, and your cruise card is linked to your onboard account. Now, you still will want to have a little bit of cash. Most people will want to bring some small bills, so some ones, some fives, some tens, some 20s. Now, you can use some of those small bills to tip the bartenders, the porters, shore excursion guides, and you may want to go into the market in a cruise port of call. And if you do want to bargain a little bit, having those small bills is helpful as well. Towels. Now, when we went on our first cruise, thankfully, my travel agent told me, Ilana, you don't need to bring towels on a cruise because the cruise ship is going to provide towels to be able to use at the pool on the cruise ship, but also for you to take off the cruise ship and go into the port of call for an excursion or to the beach. However, if you do want to bring something that's a little bit thinner, because they do tend to be a little bit heavy and bulky, you can definitely bring one of those thin sand-free towels if you like. Bathrobes. Now, if you were planning to bring a bathrobe on your vacation, no need to on a cruise because most cruise lines are going to provide bathrobes upon request in your cruise cabin. Hangers. Now, what if there are not enough hangers in your cruise cabin closet? Honestly, that happens to me all the time. I overpack just a little bit and I always need to ask for more. However, it's no problem. You can just ask your cabin attendant. The only thing that you should know is that they're likely going to be the thin wire hangers. So if that doesn't bother you, then just ask your cabin attendant, and usually it takes a few hours and they're going to bring them. However, if you want to unpack right away, as some people like to do, then you can bring those foldable travel hangers instead. A hair dryer. Now, I do have to warn you, the hair dryer quality on most cruise ships is going to be about the same quality as you're going to get in a hotel room. So if that works for you, that is going to be just fine. Other fire hazards and the exceptions. Now, typically any item that has a heating element is going to be prohibited, but there are a couple of exceptions. So ladies, you're going to be happy with this. So firstly, the items that you cannot bring on a cruise include an electric heating blanket and also include a coffee maker. However, when it comes to hair tools like a hair straightener or a curling iron, On most cruise line websites, on their exceptions list, you're going to see that these items are allowed, although if they're deemed to not be safe by the cabin attendant or by the security, they can always be removed. Now, truthfully, I've been on over 40 cruises on 8 different cruise lines, and I've never had any issues with mine. Now, I'm going to leave the discount code as well as the link to the Nomad Lane website down below in the description of this video, as well as in the pinned comment, and as well all of the other items that I mentioned in this video. Now, I'd love to hear from you. If you are going on your first cruise, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you've been on a cruise before, please let me know what is your biggest cruise packing mistake. Please let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.